a trip down the Barton branch, calling at Ulceby, Thornton Abbey, Cox Hill, New Holland, Barrow Haven, and terminating at Barton-on-Humber. The Derby-built two-car unit leaves the Grimsby-Barnetby line and swings north to Ulceby. The lady waiting on Ulceby platform keeps a tight hold of the children as heavy freight trains pass to and fro from Immingham. And so on to the Barton branch. First stop, Thornton Abbey. "101 miles to Manchester Piccadilly by Brig and Woodhead." Thornton Abbey Station opened in 1849, close to the monastic ruins of that name, replacing a station at Thornton Curtis, half a mile away, built a year earlier. Two miles north of Thornton Abbey is the next station at Cox Hill, once near to the lifted junction onto the Barton and Immingham light railway. Oxmarsh crossing, and the driver takes the tablet pouch for the single line section from here to the terminus at Barton. New Holland, once a busy place before the closure of the ferry service across the River Humber to Hull. At Barrow Road crossing, the line will swing sharply from the north to the west and run parallel with the Humber shore. The space between the railway and river is mainly flooded clay pits between here and Barton. The clay used in the brick and tile making industry carried out along the river bank. Part of the old line to New Holland Pier is still there, and I received permission from the owners, New Holland Bulk Services, to walk along the pier. A Sentinel diesel hydraulic number 166, built 1963, awaits a possible rail shipment of fertiliser. The tracks were rusty. Barrow Haven, a tiny wooden platform, trains halting by request, situated by a little creek, enabling a single motor vessel to berth. The multiple unit returns to Grimsby, and on the outskirts of Barton passes the spur into the Associated Chemical Company. Flooded clay pits now worked out, but 1 mile away is another railway, a little 2-foot gauge system hauling wet clay to the kilns of a roof tiling factory situated close by the Humber Bridge, Far Ings Tileries. Haulage of the wet clay to the kiln is carried out by a 4-wheeled diesel mechanical Ruston and Hornsby, built in 1948. The wet clay is now dumped into a mixer before being pressed into shape and then fired in the kilns. Unhook the haulage rope and couple the tub up to the rustern and away for more clay. Blocks of wet, heavy clay are then manhandled into the press house, where the clay blocks are pressed into the familiar clay pantile shapes we see on the roofs of so many Lincolnshire buildings. Finally, the moulded roof tiles are fired in the kilns. Back to Barrow Haven, and the Class 37 locomotive takes tankers to the Associated Chemical Works at New Holland. The loaded motor vessel Edelgard sits firmly on the mud, and the prospective rail passenger flags down the unit for Grimsby. Note the single platform with a wooden edging containing a clinker bed. The DMU continues on its journey with a route learning crew in the cab. After closing the gates, the signalman at Barrow Road crossing pulls off his levers for the diesel multiple unit. Another request halt, a single platform, all wood this time, and then Oxmarsh crossing again, and this time the signalman receives the pouch as the train leaves the single line section for double track. At Cox Hill, the signalman operates the handwheel to close the gates and pulls off the levers. The arrival of a passenger train used to be announced by the ringing of a cast bell mounted high up on the waiting room wall. The Class 37 locomotive hurries back to Immingham Depot after dropping off its tanks at Associated Chemicals. And so back onto the main line at Hayborough Junction, closing the film at Ulsterby as iron ore empties hurry towards Immingham.